Hi, how you doing? Justin here. Welcome to IM-145, where we're going to be checking out how to do a snare drum hit and add a bit of a percussive element to your rhythm guitar. Now the snare drum is normally played on beats 2 and 4, and if you'll excuse my really rubbish beatboxing, a kind of real basic drum groove kind of goes like doof, ka, doof, doof, ka, doof, doof, ka, doof, doof, ka, and it's that little ka that we're going to try and emulate as part of our rhythm guitar. Now if I play it for you, sounds kind of like this. And you can hear it really kind of brings a bit of life and a bit of groove into your rhythm guitar. If I play it first of all without the little chuck, it's fine, nothing wrong with that. But as soon as you bring that in, you'll find that all of your mates are kind of tapping their feet and clapping their hands in no time. Really good if you're doing an acoustic guitar thing at a party or at a barbecue. You'll really find that it makes all of the difference between a regular strumming pattern, add a bit of this in, and it really moves things along really well. Now the most important thing here is that you get the technique right. And I've seen a couple of people explain it by kind of relaxing your hand on the neck and hitting the strings, which kind of works, but it doesn't then work for open chords. And a lot of the times, if you're in that kind of party acoustic guitar thing, you're going to be using open chords. So it's really important that you learn how to perform this without having any hand on the guitar at all, other than your picking hand. So you can do this kind of snare drum hit like this. And it's important too to realize that there are actually two elements. There's two things going on here, which when I'm doing it, it sounds just like one motion because I am using just one movement. But there's the two parts are, first of all, the hand hitting on the strings, and you get the strings kind of hitting on the wire frets, and you get this kind of metallic crunching sound. So that's the first part. And the second part is once the hand's on the strings, the pick plays through the strings, and you get a little bit of a thud there. So when you're practicing it, you have to learn it by doing it in two motions. Hand, pick, hand, pick, hand, pick, hand, pick, and then it becomes one motion. And it's really the sound of those two things happening at the same time that gives it that really strong kind of snare drum-like sound. So let's have a bit of a look at a close-up of this, because it's quite an interesting technique. And if you don't get it exactly right, it's kind of frustrating. Okay, let's look at these two motions. So the first one is it's the outside part of your hand after your little finger, so that kind of the outer palm part that's landing on the strings. And it has to cover all 6 strings. It's really important that it lands firmly on those 6 strings. It should be, 3-4 inches away from the bridge. So somewhere kind of at the back end of the sound hole is where it should be landing. And it's important that you realize that it lands from above, because it's part of a strum really. It's that strumming motion. So it's practice, first of all, just moving your hand from above, falling down, so it's almost like part of the strum, and then it rolls out, and it should just be falling like that with that outside part of your palm. So try and get used to that first of all, the motion. Now you can hear already the strings hitting against the frets. That's the noise. They're just up here somewhere. The strings are hitting the frets, and you get a little bit of that click noise. So that's the first thing that you should be trying to work on, is just trying to get that hit to come down like that onto the strings, making sure that it's not too noisy and there's not too many strings ringing out. Sometimes my little finger's hitting on the fingerboard there. I can do it deliberately if I want. That's not a bad thing. It kind of just adds to the click sound. So don't worry if you do a little bit of that. It's not really the point, but it doesn't matter if it happens a little bit. Now I'm kind of making my hand go out this way a little bit more than I probably should, just to show you. So normally it's staying a little bit squarer than that. And you can see now my pick hand is ready to hit the strings. And of course now what's happening is the hand's going on, and then the pick's roughly at the top, and it picks a few of the strings. It doesn't have to pick like all of them, but probably the first 4, the thickest 4 strings, something like that. 4 or 5, doesn't really matter. So try and get used to now hit, strum, hit, strum, and practice just getting that motion. Again, this hand's not doing anything, so making sure, because if you cover it like that, you can kind of get away with all, not doing any palm mute and just strumming. So really you want this hand not touching the guitar, and mute, strum, hit, strum, hit, strum, hit, strum. And eventually you'll find that you can hit strum, and then it's the point. Now, it isn't something that's going to get closer and closer and then suddenly you get it. You'll practice going hit, strum. Once you feel confident that you're doing that really well, just have a go at trying to throw the whole thing together. And that's where you get your really good, and it does sound a little, well, quite a lot like a snare drum. Next, we have to incorporate it into some rhythm guitar patterns. The next thing we're going to do is incorporate that now into a rhythm guitar pattern. And probably the easiest one to get going with is to start off with a straight 8 pattern. So if you remember back to our basic rhythm guitar, we had 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and using down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Just run through it once just so you know what's going on. I'm using a G open chord. It's a good idea to practice this with open chords first so you don't cheat. If you're using bar chords, you can kind of lift them up a little bit, and that's kind of cheating a bit. So get yourself an open chord. I'm using G. You can use whatever you like. But first of all, just get that real basic strumming. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? Hopefully you got that one by now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in that hit on beats 2 and 4. So we'd have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Just practice it slowly, make sure that you got it right. That's the most important thing, is trying to get it smooth, because it really kind of feels like a strum. It doesn't feel like you're suddenly having to do something different with your arm. Your arm should still be flowing. I'm not feeling it any different. I do feel a little bit like my shoulders coming forward a bit and I'm kind of digging into the guitar a little bit, but it's not kind of changing the way that the strumming feels, because remember that your hand shouldn't stop moving when you're strumming or it'll kind of throw you off. So really important then just to practice getting it in the groove, getting your hit nice. It's worth practicing as well sometimes, trying to get that hit so it's kind of louder than you think it should be. So really trying to throw it out. Really try and give it some, because you'll probably find that you're doing it a bit too quiet. So if you ever record yourself or get a way of listening to yourself, what you want to do then is try and even it out so it's at the right volume level, you know. So, but that's something you can only really do when you hear yourself back. Now, once you've had a go at doing that basic 8th note one, maybe you'd like to try a 16th note pattern, and probably the one to go for to start off with again is doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but this time using all down strums. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all downs, and then adding that hit on the 2 and 4. So having 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 2 and 4. And if you've got that right, you might like to try and add something else a little bit more funky with your 16th note. It's a really good idea to try and insert this technique into as many different rhythm patterns as you can. You find that it works really well in some and not so well in others, but that's really your call, and what you want to do is kind of get good at it enough that you can just kind of let it flow and start happening whenever you want. Because really with rhythm guitar, it's not really like learn this pattern and learn that pattern and numbering them and all of that sort of stuff. It should just be kind of flowing, going with the groove, and then eventually finding the rhythm pattern that works for that particular song. So see how many different rhythm patterns you can insert this snare drum hit into. It's lots of fun. Hope you've enjoyed it too. See you for another lesson real soon. Take care. Bye bye.